The small town of Ashwood nestled itself in the heart of rural America, surrounded by dense forests and quiet farmlands. Its cobblestone streets whispered tales of generations long past, secrets buried beneath the layers of time. The air, thick with the scent of decaying leaves and damp earth, carried a chilling undertone that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to venture into the shadows. Amelia Carter, a reserved librarian in her mid-30s, moved to Ashwood seeking solace from the relentless demands of city life. She found an ancient Victorian house that called to her with its charming facade, its history seemingly seeping through its weathered walls. Her plan was to escape the cacophony of urban existence, but Ashwood had a way of weaving its own disquieting symphony. Amelia's life took an unexpected turn when she discovered a dusty, forgotten journal hidden in the attic of her new home. The leather-bound book exuded an age-old aroma, and its pages crinkled as if they held the weight of untold stories. Intrigued, she began to read the meticulous handwriting that detailed the experiences of a woman named Eleanor Grayson, who had lived in the same house over a century ago. Eleanor's entries unveiled a dark tale of despair and haunting occurrences. As Amelia delved deeper into the journal, she couldn't shake the feeling that the words reached out to her, that the echoes of Eleanor's anguish resonated in the very walls around her. Days turned into nights, and Amelia found herself inexplicably drawn to the mysteries woven within the narrative. She noticed subtle changes in her surroundings, shadows that lingered a moment too long, whispers that danced on the edges of her consciousness. The air seemed charged with an unseen tension, as if the house itself held its breath, waiting. One evening, as Amelia navigated the dimly lit corridors of her home, a distant murmur enveloped her. The soft whisper of Eleanor's voice seemed to ride the currents of the air, pleading for release from an unending torment. Fear slithered down Amelia's spine, entwining with the unsettling realization that the past and present were colliding in an inexplicable dance. Sleep became a fragile refuge, haunted by dreams that blurred the lines between reality and nightmare. Shadows morphed into grotesque figures, and the echoes of anguished cries reverberated through Amelia's mind. Each night, she awoke with a chilling certainty that something unseen lingered just beyond her consciousness, watching. Desperation gnawed at Amelia's resolve, urging her to unravel the enigma of Eleanor's torment. In her quest for answers, she combed through local archives and historical records, discovering a tragic chapter in Ashwood's history. Eleanor Grayson, a misunderstood woman accused of witchcraft, had faced persecution from the superstitious townsfolk. The journal chronicled her isolation, the whispers of the townspeople, and her eventual demise at the hands of a frenzied mob. Amelia's heart quickened as she made the connection between Eleanor's tale and the strange occurrences in her own life. She wondered if the lingering energy of Eleanor's suffering had imprinted itself upon the very fabric of the house, perpetuating a cycle of despair that transcended time. As the days unfolded, Amelia's grip on reality slipped further. She felt Eleanor's presence in every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of the candlelight. The once charming Victorian house transformed into a suffocating labyrinth, its walls closing in around her. One stormy night, Amelia, driven by a force she couldn't comprehend, descended into the musty cellar where Eleanor's journal had been discovered. The air grew thick with anticipation as she uncovered a hidden trapdoor beneath a worn-out rug. The wooden door creaked open, revealing a hidden chamber that seemed untouched by the passage of time. The flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows on the walls adorned with symbols and arcane drawings. Amelia's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the same symbols described in Eleanor's journal. In the center of the room lay an ornate box, its craftsmanship defying the years it had weathered. As Amelia approached, she felt a surge of energy, an otherworldly pulse that resonated with the beating of her own heart. Compelled by an unseen force, she opened the box, revealing a collection of artifacts, a lock of hair, a weathered photograph, and a time-worn pendant. Each item held a piece of Eleanor's soul, tethering her to the realm of the living. The realization struck Amelia with a paralyzing dread. She was entwined in Eleanor's tragic narrative, a vessel for the unresolved anguish that had festered for centuries. The room trembled as a spectral presence materialized before Amelia, the ghostly figure of Eleanor Grayson herself. Hollow eyes locked onto hers, conveying a silent plea for salvation. Amelia, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead, felt the weight of Eleanor's sorrow enveloping her, threatening to consume her very essence. In that moment of spectral communion, Amelia understood the only way to break free from the suffocating grip of the past. With a trembling hand, she reached for the pendant within the box, a relic of Eleanor's unfulfilled life. As the pendant slipped through her fingers, a surge of energy swept through the chamber, carrying with it the echoes of anguish and the pained whispers that had haunted Amelia's every waking moment. The storm outside raged in tandem with the tumult within the hidden chamber. The air crackled with ethereal energy as the boundaries between past and present blurred. In the final moments of their spectral connection, Amelia felt Eleanor's gratitude, a fleeting sense of release as the tortured soul found solace in the unraveling tapestry of time. As dawn broke, the storm subsided, leaving Ashwood in an eerie calm. The once haunted Victorian house stood as a silent witness to the interwoven destinies of two women separated by centuries. Amelia, now free from the shackles of the past, emerged from the cellar, her eyes reflecting the quietude that had settled over the town. The townsfolk, oblivious to the supernatural forces that had gripped their quaint community, continued their lives as usual. Only the echoes of desolation lingered in the corners of Amelia's mind, a haunting reminder of the thin veil between reality and the spectral realms that lay hidden beneath the surface of the seemingly ordinary town of Ashwood. Nestled in the heart of New England, the town of Ravenscroft exuded an atmosphere of antiquity. Its time-worn buildings stood as stoic sentinels, guardians of secrets buried in the annals of history. Among the labyrinthine streets, Emily Turner, a young psychologist seeking a respite from the chaos of the city, found an old Victorian mansion with a peculiar charm that beckoned her into its enigmatic embrace. The house, known locally as Blackthorn Manor, was adorned with ivy-covered walls and towering spires that seemed to reach towards the heavens. Emily, with an academic fascination for the human mind, believed the house held stories waiting to be unraveled. Little did she know that her pursuit of knowledge would lead her into the depths of a psychological horror that transcended the boundaries of rationality. Soon after settling in, Emily discovered a hidden door in the mansion's study, concealed behind a dusty bookshelf. As she cautiously stepped into the dimly lit chamber beyond, a sense of foreboding gripped her. The air felt dense with a palpable tension, and shadows danced on the walls like malevolent specters. Within the chamber, Emily stumbled upon a collection of antique journals, their brittle pages filled with the desperate scrawls of a tormented mind. The author, a previous resident named Dr. Samuel Blackthorne, chronicled his descent into madness, plagued by nightmarish visions that seemed to bleed from the walls of the very house he inhabited. Emily, captivated by the psychological unraveling documented in the journals, delved deeper into the mysteries that clung to Blackthorn Manor. As she read, the boundaries between her own reality and the fragmented psyche of Dr. Blackthorne blurred, casting an unsettling haze over her perception of the world. Strange occurrences became a nightly ritual for Emily. Whispers echoed in the corridors, their words barely audible but laden with a sinister weight. Shadows twisted into grotesque shapes, and the oppressive atmosphere wrapped itself around her, like an invisible hand tightening its grip on her sanity. In her quest to understand the psychological torment that plagued Dr. Blackthorne, Emily sought solace in the town's historical archives. She unearthed a chilling tale of a brilliant psychologist whose experiments delved into the darkest corners of the human psyche. Rumors hinted at forbidden knowledge, the kind that invoked a nameless dread in those who dared to seek it. As Emily pieced together the fragments of Dr. Blackthorn's shattered mind, she realized the mansion itself was a manifestation of his deepest fears. The walls echoed with the remnants of his experiments, creating a labyrinth of shadows that ensnared anyone who dared to explore its depths. Night after night, Emily found herself drawn to the hidden chamber, unable to resist the gravitational pull of the psychological abyss within. The line between observer and participant blurred as she became entangled in the nightmarish visions that mirrored Dr. Blackthorn's descent into madness. In the depths of the mansion, Emily confronted her own fears, manifested in grotesque forms that lurked in the corners of her consciousness. The whispers grew louder, their insidious words burrowing into her mind like parasites feeding on her sanity. The house itself seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, as if it reveled in the psychological torment it inflicted upon its unwitting inhabitants. As Emily reached the nadir of her psychological ordeal, she uncovered a long-forgotten chamber within the hidden labyrinth. Within its confines lay a mirror, its surface tarnished with age, but radiating an otherworldly glow. As she gazed into the reflective abyss, Emily felt a profound connection with the tortured soul of Dr. Blackthorn. The mirror became a portal into the twisted recesses of their intertwined psyches. Emily and Dr. Blackthorn, separated by time yet bound by a shared descent into madness, faced the demons that lurked within the labyrinth of shadows. The oppressive atmosphere reached its zenith as the two minds collided, and the boundaries between their realities dissolved into a kaleidoscope of fractured perceptions. In a moment of epiphany, Emily realized that the only way to break free from the suffocating grip of the psychological labyrinth was to confront the darkness within and embrace the fragmented pieces of her own psyche. With a profound acceptance of her fears, the mirror shattered, releasing a burst of blinding light that consumed the hidden chamber. As the light faded, Emily found herself back in the study, the hidden door sealed shut behind her. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the shadows that once danced malevolently now retreated to the corners of the room. Blackthorn Manor, once a labyrinth of psychological torment, stood silent and still, as if the echoes of its haunted past had been laid to rest. With the ordeal behind her, Emily emerged from the mansion, her psyche forever marked by the harrowing journey through the labyrinth of shadows. The town of Ravenscroft, unaware of the horrors that transpired within the ancient walls of Blackthorn Manor, continued its existence with a sense of tranquil ignorance. Yet, Emily carried the weight of a psychological pilgrimage, a journey into the abyss that left her forever changed, haunted by the labyrinth of shadows that lurked within the recesses of the human mind. In the quiet town of Hollowbrook, where the streets whispered with the rustling of ancient trees, lived Sarah Mitchell, a reserved artist seeking inspiration in the serene surroundings. Her quaint cottage, perched on the outskirts of town, seemed to cradle her in a cocoon of solitude. Little did she know that within the walls of her charming refuge, a dormant horror awaited, ready to awaken her deepest fears. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the landscape, Sarah stumbled upon an old wooden chest in the attic. The chest, adorned with intricate carvings, beckoned her with an eerie allure. As she opened it, the hinges creaking in protest, a wave of cold air surged forth, carrying with it the ghostly echoes of a forgotten era. Inside the chest lay a collection of meticulously preserved letters, their fragile parchment filled with the delicate strokes of a bygone era's handwriting. The sender, a mysterious figure named Sebastian Hartfield, poured his heart into each missive. The letters told a tale of unrequited love, betrayal, and the haunting specter of a woman named Isabella, who seemed to exist at the intersection of reality and the ethereal. Intrigued and unnerved, Sarah immersed herself in the tragic narrative woven through the letters. Sebastian, consumed by a forbidden passion, spoke of an otherworldly connection with Isabella that transcended the boundaries of life and death. As Sarah delved deeper into the letters, the once silent cottage seemed to sigh with the weight of secrets long suppressed. Night after night, Sarah found herself ensnared by dreams that mirrored Sebastian's tormented love affair. Isabella's spectral presence manifested in the moonlit corners of her bedroom, her eyes carrying the silent scream of a soul trapped between two worlds. The line between Sarah's reality and the haunting dreamscape blurred, leaving her with a chilling uncertainty that seeped into every waking moment. Driven by an irresistible compulsion, Sarah embarked on a quest to uncover the truth behind Sebastian's letters and Isabella's spectral presence. As she explored the dimly lit corners of Hollowbrook's historical archives, a pattern emerged, a tragic love triangle that unfolded centuries ago, leaving Isabella condemned to an eternity of restless anguish. The town's history revealed that Isabella, accused of witchcraft in a bygone era, faced persecution at the hands of a superstitious community. The forbidden love affair with Sebastian, a respected town figure, sealed her fate as the target of a vengeful witch hunt. Isabella's silent scream echoed through the centuries, a haunting lament that Sarah unwittingly unleashed by opening the chest in her attic. The once quiet town of Hollowbrook began to transform in the wake of Sarah's exploration into the past. Shadows lengthened into grotesque figures that danced on the periphery of her vision. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, and the cottage itself seemed to breathe with a mournful sigh, as if sharing in the collective sorrow of centuries past. In her pursuit of resolution, Sarah uncovered a ritual described in Sebastian's letters, a way to appease the tormented spirit of Isabella and break the cycle of haunting that bound them together. With trepidation, she ventured into the depths of the nearby woods, guided by the cryptic instructions that promised a chance to free Isabella's soul. As Sarah performed the ritual under the moonlit canopy, the air thickened with an otherworldly resonance. Isabella's spectral presence materialized, her silent scream etched on a face that bore the weight of centuries. The woods seemed to hold its breath as the ethereal and corporeal collided in a moment of transcendence. In that ephemeral moment, Sarah felt a surge of catharsis as Isabella's spirit dissolved into the night air. The oppressive atmosphere that clung to Hollowbrook lifted, leaving the town bathed in an eerie calm. The shadows retreated, and the once haunted cottage stood silent, its walls no longer echoing with the silent scream of a tormented soul. As dawn broke over Hollowbrook, Sarah emerged from the woods, her heart heavy with the weight of the supernatural odyssey she had traversed. The town, oblivious to the spectral drama that unfolded in its midst, continued its existence with an air of serenity. Yet, Sarah carried the indelible mark of a silent scream, a haunting reminder that the boundaries between the living and the dead are thin, and the echoes of forbidden love linger in the quietest corners of the human soul.